me find. All right, without further ado, I'm going to introduce David Gandelman, author of The 7 Energies of the Soul. He's a spiritual teacher, author, and coach. He is the founder of Meditation School, an online meditation platform, and the host of the Meditation School Energy Matters and Grounded Sleep podcast. He guest teaches at Cornell University and NBC Universal. David's style connects energetic experience, ancient wisdom traditions, and humor to create a safe atmosphere for people interested in learning to meditate and develop into their potential. David, take it away.
All right, Ainsley, thank you so much. And I'm going to do my own bio. David was born a baby and he grew up and he's still a baby. I think I came out smiling ear to ear. My mother said that I was a super happy baby and my brother was always crying. So I admit I was born with a happy disposition. I feel very fortunate, and I slowly grew into my ears. Not fully ever, but I'm getting there. Nice to see you, everybody. Why don't you write in the chat box as you come in where you're from? Just say hi and where you're from. Love to see where you all are. And I have to mention, by the way, Ainsley is one of the funniest people I know. And when I got on the call, she goes, "David, your background looks like a Russian bathhouse." I put so much effort into this background and she just tore it down with one amazing joke. Wow, I really appreciate it. I actually love Russian bathhouses. They're my favorite. My parents are Russian. I grew up speaking Russian, going to bathhouses. So now I feel like I'm at home. In a Russian bathhouse, they hit you with these leaves. They put you in there, you're sweating, you can't breathe. And some Russian guy with too much chest hair is just like, "Lay down, I will teach you a lesson." And for some reason, I like it. All right, so let's talk about my book. But first, hi, Canada, Toronto, Seattle, hello, Illinois, California, Washington, Ontario, Nevada. Oh, wow. Hello, everybody. Michigan, Chicago, Alabama. A lot of Americans, probably because of the time. Welcome, everyone. If this is your first time hanging with me, hi. If you've been to my classes before, welcome back. Why are you still here? Just kidding. So this evening, I'm going to try to keep it to an hour. This evening I want to talk about my book that's coming out in 3 weeks, about 2/22/22, auspicious date, the 7 energies of the soul. And I'm co-creating this evening, tonight, or whenever you are watching this recording, with Hierophant Publishing. And they're amazing. I've done a bunch of events with them in person. Me and Ainsley did an event together. Where were we? New Mexico, did one in Arizona. So it's so good to be here on Zoom and be able to reach everybody. And I want to start by just sharing a bit about the book, how I created it, what the premise is, and then we're going to workshop it a little bit together. I want to help each of you kind of discover each energy for yourself and where you are with each one and its potential. And we'll do some meditating as well. And I would love to group you up at some point to all share for a few minutes. And you don't have to, but it'd be great if you wanted to. So just to jump right in, after living in India in the Himalayas for a while, I moved to Hawaii. The very short version is I went to a school for magic, for intuitive development and healing, the healing arts. So I kind of went from the very traditional Vedantic Zen training in India to more of the healing, woo-woo healing arts in Hawaii. And it was interesting because in India, all my teachers were men. They were all men, very, academic, intellectual. There's one truth. This is the truth. Sit still for 10,000 hours until you find it in a cave. That was very old school traditions that are thousands of years old. And then when I went to Hawaii, all of my teachers were women. and they were much more centered in feeling, in the intuitive abilities. And they weren't opposites. It was more like masculine and feminine. Maybe there's some opposite energy in there, but just different approaches. And I think both of those approaches really helped kind of round me out. And in Hawaii, I spent 7 years there, and I ended up being the director of that school. And I got to work one-on-one with, I would say, probably a couple of thousand people over the years, doing intuitive work, healing work, counseling, coaching, all of that put together. And what I noticed over the years was that everybody would always come to me with the same issues. They would take different forms, but it was always, I have an issue in my relationship space, in my career, in my creativity, in my ability to find my spiritual path. I want to be a mentor or a healer or a teacher. I want to raise a family. And, we're all so unique as human beings, but we're also kind of all going through similar stuff. We all have too many thoughts in our heads. Most of us have too much attachment to the past. A lot of us have trouble letting go of pain. We have a hard time finding stillness in meditation, knowing what our purpose is and why we're here, and living a calm, happy life. I would say most people I come across have some of those issues. And I think it's weaved into the human condition. There's this innate frustration with our imperfection and the limited amount of time that we have on this planet. I think we all feel that. And if you ever studied the Buddha, that's the kind of foundation of the Four Noble Truths. And so what I did over time was I realized, okay, there are these themes that all my students and clients are coming to me with over and over, and they keep calling them problems, right? Everything is a problem. And what I did was just kind of flip that right side up. So if somebody's having an issue with their family, instead of that just being a problem, I started seeing it as this person is cultivating their inner lover. If somebody wanted to be a professional teacher or mentor, coach, instead of it being a problem that they were having a hard time launching their website or their business, I started seeing it as this person is developing their inner master. If they're having issues with finances or building, maybe some project or foundation, maybe they were developing their inner creator. And that's how these terms are pretty general and they're nothing new. There's no word I'm going to use that you haven't heard, and they're self-explanatory. So the 7 energies, really simply, I'll just name them each one in order: the creator, the healer, the warrior, the lover, the artist, the explorer, and the master. And what I found with each energy, with all of my students, clients, was that most of the time, the person was in some kind of deficiency with one or more of their energies, or in excess. So, for example, if we go back to the lover, a lover in deficiency might be someone whose heart is closed. Maybe they're not open to connection or meeting someone or sharing their feelings. And somebody whose heart is in excess, or their lover is in excess, maybe they're always giving. They have no boundaries. They put everyone in front of themselves, right? And then that begs the question, well, what does a lover in balance look like? So maybe healthy boundaries, knows how to connect with others, loves themselves, and is able to love others, can give and receive love. So that would be a lover that is healthy and in balance. Or if we take the warrior energy, right? A lot of professional athletes would probably fall into that category: fitness coaches, trainers. The warrior might be in deficiency in you if you have a hard time getting up and exercising, taking care of your body, putting enough effort into life. And the warrior in you might be in excess if all you ever do is work out, think about your body, need to be kind of perfectly toned, or whatever your craft is, you're in excess effort all the time and you don't know how to find that kind of balanced place. And we can go through all the energies and do that. So at one moment in life, we might be an excessive lover. And another moment in life, we might be a deficient master, not sharing our light and our wisdom with the world. In one moment, we might be an excessive healer, trying to fix everyone around us. And another moment, we might be a deficient artist, where we're not pursuing any of our creative passions. And I want to mention that I don't believe that any of us are just one energy, like astrology or an Enneagram. I see it much more like when light passes through a prism and then it refracts into the 7 colors. So we're all 7. And I think to live a happy and balanced life, just like the right recipe for food, for a great meal, we have to balance all 7 of these energies, and they work together harmoniously. That's the way to a happy, fulfilled life from my experience with working with all my students and clients in my own life. So that's how I put the book together. And I do meditations in the book for each energy. And I'm also creating a 21-day audio series that'll go with the book. So I'm going to share that when the book comes out. It's in the process. It's in the process of being made. So there'll be some kind of extra guidance for you if you need it. And so what I wanted to do tonight with all of you is explore each of these energies and help you find out maybe where you're deficient, where you're in excess, where you feel stuck or unsure. Maybe you're an incredible creator and your lover feels broken, or you're a really wonderful mentor, master. Maybe you're a great coach or teacher, guide, but your inner artist is turned off, or your warrior is afraid and stuck. And I think when we're able to really face that in ourselves, which can be uncomfortable, awkward, painful, we all go into resistance in different ways. But when we really face it and start to work at ourselves from every angle, then we become well-rounded people. I interviewed a friend of mine, Dan Loney, who's a therapist, and he works with what he calls schemas. And there's 20 something of them. They're kind of psychological profiles and patterns and lenses that we see the world through, I think would be the best definition. And I said, well, what does a healthy human being from the perspective of a psychologist look like? And through these schemas, he said, a healthy human being is somebody who's well-rounded in all of these areas and can integrate them all into one being. So we're not kind of having this multiple personality thing where in my relationships, I'm really loving and nice, but at work, I'm a jerk, or, where we're really integrated, all of us, into one being. And that takes a lot of work. I think we go through puberty when we're teenagers, which sucks, right? But then we go through like a spiritual puberty because nobody teaches us. Nobody's teaching you in grade school or high school how to find your purpose and live your path and be who you're meant to be. So we kind of go through a spiritual puberty when we get older. And some people, when they don't have guidance, it spins them out. I know when I started on my spiritual path, I was 16 and I had no teachers. I had nowhere to go. I was just trying to figure it out, reading books. And so I ended up, going to live in the Himalayas to look for teachers. And it was kind of like a slow slog of a path, just searching all the time. That's why we call those people seekers. And I'd rather be a finder than a seeker for my whole life. And so I think we have a lot more resources now than there were when I was a teenager. And many of us are going through these spiritual kind of growth periods, we can call them, looking for answers, searching for information, looking for good teachers. And unfortunately, there's a ton of noise out there. And there's so many teachers now and so much noise, and it's hard to know how to parse it all. So I would say at the core of what I do for my students and the work that I create, the meditations I do, is all about helping people understand their own energy and find their own answers. At the end of the day, when my body expires and I'm floating in the ethers looking down going, oh, that was an okay lifetime. I did all right. My hope is that I leave this planet by teaching as many people as I possibly can how to intuitively find their own answers. And I would love to do some of that through this book and some of that tonight with all of you. So let's jump in. You can either write this down, the assignment I'm going to give you, on a piece of paper, on your phone, on your computer. And if you want to share in the chat box, that would be great. So grab something. And we're going to jump right in. So I want to describe each energy. And then I want to have you rate yourself based on where you feel how you feel you're doing with each one. Okay. And this is subjective. It's in the moment. It's just how you feel now. These numbers can change. They can oscillate, but I just want to help you get a sense of where you are with each energy. So we'll briefly walk through all of them, and I want you to just rate them, and I'll explain how. So we're going to start with the creator. So the creator is the part of us that is the doer, the maker, the builder. My brother is an incredible farmer. I always see that creator energy in him. The creator might be a CEO, might have a business, might build a home. There's infinite ways you can be a creator. And I don't mean creative energy in the sense of an artist. I mean like doing. There's a doing energy in the world. So 1 to 10, just rate yourself in terms of how much you feel like you are living your potential as a creator. 1 being you're not, and 10 being you completely are. So just 1 to 10 with your creator energy, how much are you really living up to that potential? If I was to look at someone like an Elon Musk in that energy, he would be probably a 10. If we looked at his lover energy, I think it would probably be much lower, right? So, and yes, feel free to share in the chat box. So we've got 9, 4, 7, 5, 8. Awesome. 3, 9. Great. 7. I feel like I'm reading lottery numbers. Maybe we should take 6 of these, put them together, and go by the Powerball. I need a laugh track on that one. See that woman recently, she found in her spam folder in her email, she won $3 million, and it was in her spam folder in her Gmail, and she found it. I thought that was a great story. Oh my God. I never find that in my spam folder, just emails for myself. 1, 5, 2. Yeah. Okay. So you were just getting a sense. We're not judging ourselves. There's a saying, what gets measured gets managed. And usually I'll do this, and we'll do some meditation here, but I'll do this with a client or a student where I'll have them close their eyes and ask them to be as honest as they can with how much they're showing up in this particular area in their lives. And this is simplistic, right? Because you might be great at work, but your creator might, have trouble somewhere else. But just in general, we're just getting a sense. And so let's go to the healer. So the healer part of us is the part of us that wants to fix, that wants to mend, that wants to help others, that wants the world to be whole, that wants to release pain in themselves and help others release pain. So 1 to 10, how much of your healer potential do you feel like you're living up to? And by the way, your healer potential could just be your presence. Your presence could be healing for others. It doesn't have to be some vocation. But you might be a massage therapist, right? You might be some kind of Reiki healer, doctor. 8s, 7s, 8s. All right, we got a room full of healers. Not surprising. 10 plus. All right, so we got excessive healer maybe. Great. Yeah. And people that show up to a meditation workshop like this, yeah, you're going to be kind of self-selecting on the more sensitive side. So I'm not surprised. Now let's go to the warrior. So the part of you that has discipline, that knows how to exert effort, that can be discerning and like see through someone's BS. The part of you that maybe can conquer fear, even maybe fear of death. The part of you that might be an athlete that takes care of your body. Yeah. 8783779. Cool. So I grew up playing ice hockey, and that was my whole identity pretty much until I was a teenager, mostly even through college, actually. That was I think that's our modern day warrior for a lot of folks is athletics. 8274. Okay. So a little bit more mixed on this one. So let's go to the next one, which is the lover, which I've already talked about a bit, but that part of you that can give and receive love, that can connect with others, that can share your authentic self with the world, that can love itself. So let's look at that lover that could be in really intimate relationships, relationships with family. 10, 8, 10, 5, 8. Giving 9, receiving 3. Interesting. Yeah. All right, this one's all over the place. It's great to be aware. We're not judging, we're just measuring. We're just taking note, okay? By the end of this, you'll be like, wow, thanks for the workshop, David. I feel more fucked up than when we started. I'm inadequate. Great. This isn't a test score. Now that's your inner lover score just going down based on how much you love yourself. Next, next one, we're going to go into our inner artist. So the part of you that can be creative, that follows your passions and your hobbies, whether it's dancing, singing, writing, poetry, comedy. What am I missing? Yeah, whatever it is, Dungeons and Dragons. We got some 3s, 7s, 9s. Yeah, welcome. We got a 10. Somebody's got a 10 artist. Great. Yeah, if you have a hard time with this one, just acknowledge it. It's totally valid. Our society doesn't value the artist as much as some of the other energies. So this one can kind of be put on the back burner for a lot of people. The artist in excess might kind of be floating in the ethers, can't ground, can't manage money, thinks their art is more important than everything else. I had a friend in college, and she was an art history major, and she was such a snob about it. She's like, if you don't understand art history, like, why are you even here? Okay. I'm sure she didn't sound like that exactly, but close enough. Like, if you don't even know Monet, just get lost. So her artist was a bit in excess. Or your artist could be in deficiency. Either way, you're not living to its potential, which is it being in balance and fulfilling you and making you happy. All right, 7, 6, 5, 8. Great, thank you. I saw this. I went to the Dali Museum in Spain, and I think I went to his home as well. And they told this incredible story, which I've shared a few times before. But when Dali would go out to dinner, he would take like all his friends out for dinner. It would cost $1 gazillion, and he would sign the check with his fancy Dali. Whoop. And no one ever cashed a check because no matter what the price of the bill was, his signature was worth more than the price of the meal. Talk about living your full potential as an artist. You go like this and everything is paid for. That's incredible. Wouldn't that be great if we all could just do that? Whoop, bye, restaurant bill. You'd have a lot of friends. It's okay. We're rating each of our energies. Someone was just asking. So I'm just defining each energy to make it easier for you. And then we're just 1 to 10 rating how much of that energy we're living to our potential. So the next one is our inner explorer. this part of you can be interested, for example, in travel, in science, right? And how the body works, in chemistry, physics, biology, microbiology, astrophysics, cosmology, astronomy. Um, you might be interested in just looking at an anthill and seeing how ants function. You might just stare out at the ocean and just be in awe up at the stars. It's a way we want to explore and feel and experience the world, the infinite mystery of life. Someone's excessive in this, a lot of 10s and 8s and 7s and 9s. All right, we got a lot of healers and explorers in here. Great. Yeah, there's this incredible documentary on this amazing explorer. And now his name is French name is just, I'm spacing on it now that I was about to say it. Oh my God, somebody tell me this French explorer's name, the greatest like explorer of all time. It'll come to me. I'll come back to it. If anybody knows it, write it in the box. He's got an amazing new documentary out about his life. Oh, thank you, Jacques Cousteau. Duh. One of the most incredible documentaries I've seen in a long time. If you haven't seen it, holy cow, the guy was just amazing. He was a 10 when it came to explorer energy, for sure. So let's go to, oh, by the way, let me just add the explorer, maybe psychedelics for you. Maybe it's through meditation. You close your eyes and you astrally travel through the galaxy, universe, dimensions, wherever, so that it could be inner exploration of the psyche, of the mind, of the body. It could be external exploration, right? There's no boundaries on that. And then the last energy is the energy of the master. So the part of us that wants to be a teacher, a guide, a mentor, help others along a path, maybe a leader of some kind. So 1 to 10, what potential of your inner master are you living? And it doesn't have to be a vocation. You don't have to be a teacher. You might just be a mentor for people in a very kind of casual way. 8, 3, 5, okay, 2. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And this one's really interesting. A lot of people will have some invalidation around this one. Who am I to be a teacher? Who am I to be a guide for others? I'm still messed up. Right? Like, so there's this idea that we're supposed to be perfect. So that might be your master being in deficiency. And then there's the master in excess. I have a direct line to God. I don't know if you know that. Everything I say is pure truth. I was born enlightened, all that BS. A lot of times somebody with an excessive master energy might be like a narcissist or like a guru who's like, I'm on top of the world. Everyone bow down to me. I remember when I was living in India, I went to go see some guru and there was hundreds of people lined up and they were all kissing his socks. He was wearing these really big, thick wool socks and everyone was like bowing down and kissing them. I was like, man, those are some nice ass socks. Where did he get those? I need a pair. Yeah, a narcissist in the field of teaching or guiding or leading would have an excessive master. Yeah, probably a messed up heart lover as well. Probably a deficient lover and an excessive master would be where a narcissist might land. Yeah. Yeah, mentoring the industry you're in, of course. It does not matter what industry field. You could be mentoring children, you could be in some vocation. It's just being a light for others on their path in any way, shape, or form. Okay. And oh yeah, so everyone's kissing this guy's feet. And I was just like, whoa, what the hell is this? Because in the West, we don't, it's not an American thing to do that as much. In India, it's very cultural. And in other places, in Asia as well, it could be cultural to kind of bow down to the master. The master disciple relationship is a cultural phenomenon. in the way that it's maybe not so much in the West. So I was blown away that all of these people were just kissing this guy's feet. It's pretty wild. Is it common to feel unsure, confused about some of our ratings? Absolutely. So the reason I wrote the book and the work and the meditations are to help you find clarity, right? That's what this is all about. Meditation is about helping us find our own answers and finding clarity. So we're here to do that work. So if you feel confused about any of these, that's totally okay. You're here to really figure out who you are. That's the work. So you might wake up one day and be like, I'm a fucking lover. I didn't know it, but I'm a lover. I'm a creator. Holy crap. I'm meant to create and to heal and to love and to share all of them, right? We want to validate every single part of ourselves. And maybe we work on one part for a while and then another and then another. And I also want to mention that these energies work in synergy and in combination. They're not islands. So you could be a lover and a healer at the same time, a creator and a warrior, a master and an artist, right? So maybe a really great teacher is also a great communicator, and they're using that kind of energy. So there's no boundaries on how many energies you can bring into the fold. And if all 7 are kind of firing on all cylinders at once, that's amazing. Okay. So I would love to do a meditation with you all, but before I do, any questions about that? I know that was kind of quick. I just wanted to walk you through all of the energies and help you start to get a sense of where you're at with each of them. If you have a question, you could raise your hand. And let's see, digitally raise your hand, maybe. And can I see everyone? Let me see. I can't see all your names because of the chat. I don't know why they're not popping up. just go like this. If you want to verbally ask, that would even be better. Put your camera on and raise your hand. And if you want to do it just by chat, that's fine as well. Does the book talk about balancing when you're in excess? Yes, for sure. So in the book, we go through the deficiencies and the excesses of each one, and how to start to balance them. Yeah, absolutely. I'm supposed to mention, I'm doing a year of group coaching on this topic, and it's on the 7 energies. It starts this Sunday. It's on my website. Cool. Let's jump into meditation, and we'll do more questions after. So if you're not a big meditator, no worries. I want you to just take a moment, just for a few minutes. Go ahead, close your eyes. Sometimes when I do this, someone will be like, David, I fall asleep to your meditations every night. And then I have to be like, stay awake. Do your best to stay awake. Yeah. Part of being a good meditator might be your inner warrior, the ability to sit still and to focus. Another part might be your inner healer, where you can work on yourself and heal yourself. Obviously, another part is your inner lover, right? Where you're learning to accept who you are in this moment. And another part is your explorer, where you're looking deeply into who you are. And another part is your master, right? You're your own greatest teacher. So I want you to just bring your awareness behind your eyes for a moment. Sit in the center of your head with your eyes closed. Drop your shoulders, take a few deep breaths, relax your body, relax your jaw, relax your hands. In the beginning of meditation, for some of us, when we close our eyes, there might be some noise. We might start writing a to-do list or a hit list of some kind if we're upset with people. That's fine. Just kind of let all of that pass for right now. Usually, where we have some pain or some stuckness, or as one of you said, confusion around one of these energies or some of them, it's often where our calling in life is. So if you feel like your heart is blocked, maybe you're on this planet to develop your inner lover. Or if you feel like you have great healing capacity, but you feel broken, maybe you're on this planet to develop your healer, or any of these other energies. If someone invalidated you when you were singing or painting as a kid and you've stepped away and there's hurt around that, maybe you're here to develop your inner artist. So, what I'd like you to do for a moment is just allow one area of your life where you feel like there's some stuckness, some confusion, some invalidation. Just one area of your life, your relationships, your career, your creativity, your spirituality, your relationship to yourself and your emotions. Just allow one area to kind of rise to the top here, almost like a water bubble just kind of rises up to the surface. And intuitively just allow it to happen and see what comes up. Yes, more than one might come up. Just allow one dominant one to arise. Once you start to get a sense of what this is, we're not trying to fix it. We don't need to fight it. But just ask yourself, where does this issue fit in to these seven energies? It might be more than one, but is there one dominant energy that we've talked about? One kind of lane in your life that it fits into? Your creator, your healer, your warrior, your lover, your artist, explorer, or master. And then what I'd like you to do is get a sense of, is this energy making you deficient or excessive in life? So, for example, if you have a hard time opening to relationships, that would be a warrior in a lover in deficiency. If you can't stop working on your art and it's unbalancing the rest of your life, that would be your artist in excess. So, where does this energy land for you? If you have apathy in something, towards something, you might be in deficiency. If you have no boundaries, you might be in excess. If you feel stuck, like nothing's moving, you might be in deficiency. If you're overwhelmed and it takes all your focus and it's all you ever do, you might be in excess. And I want you to get a sense of how that makes you feel. Yes, now you're on David's therapy couch. How does it make you feel when you encounter this energy? I want you to notice that how it makes you feel is actually great feedback. It's not a problem. The problem is maybe how you judge yourself or the resistance you go into this towards this feeling. But the feeling itself is not a problem. It's great feedback. I want you to notice that whatever this excess or deficiency is, it's part of your soul's purpose on this planet to heal it, to grow, and to find your potential. So if your inner lover is stuck, There's your purpose. If it's your healer, your creator, your warrior, your artist, there's your purpose. What I want you to do in your mind's eye is create a beautiful image of a golden rose. And on this golden rose, I just want you to write, I accept you. Or if you prefer, you can write, I accept my path. And then I want you to just take that rose and send it to this energy. This energy that's been keeping you stuck or hurt or confused. Let the invalidation of whatever this is start to melt off of you. You might just feel it melting off, just coming off of you once you stop judging yourself for not being further along on your life journey here. Any of that self-judgment, any of that lack of self-worth, let that energy just start to come off like ice melting under the warm sun of your awareness. Make sure you're breathing. And I want you to notice and ask yourself, what would you look like? What would your life look like if you were to fully mature and live to your full potential in this energy, in this area of your life, in your warrior, your healer, your lover, whatever it is? If you were at a 10, how would this issue heal itself or resolve itself? What would your life look like? How would you behave? How would you feel? As you start to recognize this, notice all the invalidation, all of that confusion come off of you. Perhaps you start to recognize life has been putting these challenges in front of you so that you could develop into this energy. This was the whole point. This thing that you thought was an obstacle on your path actually is your path. And in meditation, we learn to accept what's in front of us and love our path. So if I wake up every day feeling inadequate, I learn to love the opportunity to feel adequate. Right now, in this moment, let yourself start to mature into this energy. Own it. When you start to own it, you don't have to inflate and feel like you're better than others. You don't have to deflate and think you're not as good as others. You're being real and honest. All that inflating and deflating could be exhausting. I want you to start to allow yourself to feel your authentic energy, who you were really born to be. This energy might even have a color, it might have a vibration. Let it start to move through your body. How, how do you affect all the other people around you in your life when you really embrace this energy? How much better do you make everyone else's life by living your potential? All these gifts inside you that you're waiting to give. You may not even realize it, but this whole time we've been meditating, you've been giving yourself a healing. Let that healing come to fruition, come to its potential. And every time we meditate, we let go of one more layer of invalidation, of inadequacy, and we deepen into who we are. And as we do that, every single time we meditate, the world has less and less of an ability to beat us down, to affect us in a negative way, to convince us we're not good enough, to stop us from creating and loving and healing. Your energy starts to become more well-rounded and grounded, resilient. And no one can trick you off your path. Great work. When you're ready, you can just kind of let go of whatever you've been looking at. Take a deep breath in. Nice, easy sigh out. And when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes and stretch. Good job, everyone. And we are recording this, so if you want to do this meditation again, it'll be available. Woo! I'm going to clap for all of you for doing that. Great work. You're welcome. If you have a question, feel free to write it in the chat box. We're not going to go through every energy in this one workshop, but I am going to be sharing 21 meditations for each one. So the deficient one, the excessive one, and finding balance for each energy. I remember this is a fun story. My grandmother that passed away maybe 10 plus years ago, she started getting dementia, and she would say some wild things. And one time she said to me, "David, don't try to be anything special." And then she leaned in and she was like, "You should be a dermatologist." I shared that story once, and one of my students, who's a dermatologist, was like, "What's wrong with being a dermatologist, David?" Nothing. We all want good skin. I remember that, just that kind of, she lived through the Holocaust, and it was all about just surviving. There was no following your passion or living your dreams or sharing your gifts. It was don't get killed and eat as much soup and meat as you can to stay warm. So that was the lens that she saw life through. So that was what she said to me. And I had to shake that off because it wasn't true for me. And I think that sometimes happens to us in life. Maybe it happens every day, thousands of times in different ways. People try to convince us to be small, to stay hidden, to not follow our path, to just, be a lemming, follow the guidelines, follow the rules, be a good little boy or girl. Because if you're a good little boy or girl, you get rewarded. Right? So obviously, I took my grandmother's wisdom and I went and lived in an ashram in India and shaved my head and started a YouTube channel. So, hope she's proud. I put her in the acknowledgments in the book. Couple questions. Let's see. What are your ratings for these energies? Oh, my ratings, 7s across the board. I don't know if I can answer each one of those. I'd have to, just like you did, kind of sit and reflect on them. And they oscillate just like they do for all of us. Obviously, I spend a majority of my time teaching, right? So working on that master energy and communicating, I would see that as my creator, as my artist energy, and running a business, which would be my creator energy. I care a lot about the people I work with and my students. That would be my lover energy. I do a lot of healing work, so that's my healer. In my off time, I play ice hockey. I would say that's where I get my inner warrior out. And I've been around this planet a few times. I've lived in a lot of countries, so that would be my explorer. And if you looked at my YouTube, you could tell a lot about a person by looking at their YouTube channel, like what they watch. I mean, because the algorithms. And if you looked at my YouTube, you'd be like, he's a space nerd. It's all like cosmology and astronomy and, videos about telescopes. So I hope that was a little bit insightful. I don't know. Thanks for sharing. You're welcome. Does your book speak to chronic deficiencies? Not exactly, but I think, for example, if you're sad every day, all the time, eventually that sadness turns into depression, if that's what you mean by chronic. And, when something's chronic or really deep, when we have really intense pain, we may need a team of people to help us heal. Therapists, coaches, healers, guides. So when something's really sensitive or really ouchy, I'm very much in favor of getting as much help from as many angles as possible, mind, body, and spirit. So if it feels chronic, if there's an addiction, then I think it's always really great to surround yourself with a team. And the way I like to look at it is like, if you're the CEO of your own company and you had a boardroom meeting, right? So you've got your advisors and your guides and your healers and your coaches and your teachers, your financial advisor, right? Everybody, the people that really love you, the advisor that's going to tell you the truth, no matter how much it hurts, the one that's going to cook chicken soup for you and just be nurturing. So if you don't have that team, it might be good to make it a priority to build that team. And one of the ways we build a team is by being on everybody else's board. If you're waiting for everyone to come fix you and heal you and save you, then that inner lover is in deficiency and it's all going one way. So if you're showing up for others, they're going to show up for you. And if you're showing up for others and they're not showing up for you, then we got to talk about maybe you're not showing up for the right people. So get that team together. I just sit in front of a microphone and talk, and there's like 20 people that help me do everything. They literally help me do everything. It's amazing. I would be nowhere without them. Build that team. Oh, grandma. I know. Where can we buy the book? Hey, Ainsley, can you drop the link to the book on Amazon in the chat box? Thank you. That'd be awesome. Yeah, just go on Amazon, just type in 7 Energies of the Soul. If you, my publisher, Randy, he's big on getting the pre-sales out. It really helps Amazon share the book. So that would be awesome. Thank you. There will be an audio book. Yeah, it'll come out on the day the book comes out on the February 22nd. And I read it. Yeah, so it's my voice. I did it very awkwardly and very nervously. So it's welcome to the 7 energies of the soul. Just about like 7 hours of that. Chapter 1. Just kidding. That would be awesome if I did that to you all. You buy it, you're like, what is this crap? Sorry, this is my inner comedian. What if a certain energy swings in extremes? So your warrior seems to be a 1 or an 11. Yeah, that happens. We do swing to extremes. So you can be deficient at one moment with an energy and excessive at another and balanced at another. So they both need attention. So if you sat in meditation and you're like, well, I'm just in apathy, I don't want to work out, I don't want to go to work, I don't want to put effort into life, I feel this kind of apathetic energy, then that you have to sit with that and see what pain is causing it. Or same if you're overriding. I know people that every minute, every hour of every day is scheduled into their calendar. And that's how they override their pain. Because if they were to stop, all of it would rise to the surface and they would freak out. That's why they don't like meditating. So they always have to be doing, going, effort. I'm going to prove to the world I have value. So you have to sit down and look at why you behave that way and what the pain is underneath it. That's how we start to bring balance in. Yeah, thanks for asking that. This is a great question, actually. Probably should have put a section in the book about it. Ainsley, we got to start over. 2023, 22, 23. That's when it's coming out now.
All right, you ready?
Let's see. A comment. The energy I wanted to meditate on was different than the one that bubbled up when I cued when you were in meditation. Okay. And you meditated on both. It's okay if you meditated on both. Don't worry. Don't feel guilty. When we go to meditate and we just sit still and we let whatever wants to arise to just rise to the surface, that's when we're being honest and intuitive. If you go, I'm going to do this damn energy that's always bugging me, then you're coming from a mental place or a place of resistance. And that doesn't tend to work well. You want to close your eyes, make a blank canvas appear in front of you, and then just let whatever arises arise. So when you go to meditate, you're like, David, all there is confusion. There you go. That's what you're here to work on, to release confusion. And then when you go a layer deeper, you might find the memories in your life, the people that created confusion in you and how you absorbed it. So there's always something underneath the noise, under the confusion, under the uncertainty and the doubt. Use it. It's not an obstacle or a problem. It is the path. Okay. You're most welcome. Can't wait to get a copy. That's good to hear. Cool. Wonderful, everybody. I'm excited to read it. You guys are so great. Well, we're just at that time. I want to thank you all so much for being here. And yes, group coaching starts this Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. If you just go to meditationschool.us, all the info is there, or you download the Meditation School app. Yeah. Let's unmute everyone to say bye. Thank you all so much for being here. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
David.
Lovely to see you all.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good night. Have a good day wherever you are. Love you. See you next time.
Thank you very much, folks. Thank you, David. Just an FYI, this is recorded, so I will be emailing it to everyone who was registered in that list. David, I'll give it to you as well. You can send it to all your friends. Tell your friends about the book. You guys will have something interesting to talk about.
Thanks, Ainsley. Bye,
Thank you so
everyone.
much. Have a good night.